We're joined now by Finance Minister Mathias Cormann to talk through this issue. He joins us from Parliament House. Minister, a very good morning to you.
Good morning.
You are getting lots of friendly fire on this issue this morning. I'll quote Mark Vaile in the Financial Review, the former Deputy Prime Minister, now a prominent company director. He says he believes those changes are retrospective, and he says the years we were in government, that is with the Howard government, if there was anything that had a whiff of retrospectivity, we wouldn't do it. What do you say to that criticism?
Well, the changes are not retrospective. I mean, when it comes to the $1.6 million cap on how much you can put into a tax-free superannuation retirement income environment, it relates to future earnings. Future earnings from 1 July 2017 from savings above $1.6 million will still be taxed concessionally at just 15%. It's still a very advantageous tax environment in superannuation. And of course, I mean, the earnings on any savings of up to $1.6 million transferred into retirement income account continue to be completely tax-free. That is, earnings from $1.6 million worth of savings, $1.6 million worth of capital continue to be completely tax-free. But any earnings on the back of savings above that will attract a 15% concessional tax. Now compare that with Labor's policy. Labor says that they will apply a 15% tax on any earnings above $75,000. Now that could relate to savings well below $1.6 million. I mean, the likely range is that that would apply to savings between $1 million and $1.5 million. So Labor's policy is less generous when it comes to applying a tax on earnings in the retirement phase.
Let's talk about the government and the policy the government is putting to the voters. Another prominent business figure, Malcolm Broomhead, is very angry. He says retrospective taxation of super is wrong. And the argument they make is, yes, I hear what you say, but people, and we are talking about a small proportion of Australians who enjoy amounts like this, would have been for many years planning to build their superannuation balances up to and over $1.7 million under the assumption they would be tax-free. That is where the retrospectivity comes in, doesn't it?
Well, I mean, that is the same as suggesting that people who've worked hard all their life because they want to get a higher income based on an assumption of a particular tax rate when they get into that higher income tax bracket somehow get taxed retrospectively if an income tax rate changes by the time they get there. I mean, that is just not a valid argument.
That's, excuse me for interrupting, that's referring to future earnings as well.
Well, yeah, but this is my point. I mean, like, this is just not right. I mean, income tax rates can change from time to time, up or down. The income tax changes when it comes to superannuation apply to future earnings. They apply to earnings on the back of savings in excess of $1.6 million, and they apply to these earnings from 1 July 2017 onwards. And it is still a very attractive concessional rate of 15% for any earnings from capital above $1.6 million. So you got to remember, the 1% of Australians who are lucky enough to have superannuation savings of $1.6 million or more will continue to be able to attract earnings of that $1.6 million in savings, which will not attract any income tax whatsoever. And they will then pay 15% income tax on any earnings from savings above $1.6 million. I mean, but to suggest that that is retrospective, the argument I was making is because of the effort that has been made in the past, is like suggesting that a worker who's been working very hard to get to a higher income tax bracket, and when they get to that higher income tax bracket, the tax rate gets increased, that somehow that is a retrospective increase in income taxes because they might not have made as much effort in the past if they had known that there was going to be a higher tax rate.
Let's look at the cap announced in the budget on after-tax super contributions of $500,000. That was backdated to 2007. Why is that not retrospective?
Well, it's not retrospective because it, again, only applies to future transfers. I mean, it is a lifetime non-concessional cap, so it does take into account the contributions that you've made over a lifetime. But if you have made more than a $500,000 contribution to your superannuation savings in the past, you don't have to transfer it back out. There's no penalty. You can leave it in there. But in terms of your future contributions to your superannuation savings, you are not over a lifetime lifetime able to get more than $500,000 into that tax advantageous savings environment.
If that was the case, at the point you're making, why did the Foreign Minister Julie Bishop say yesterday that the government would look at all of those concerns and, in her words, look at any unintended consequences of the superannuation changes?
No, well, what Julie Bishop said yesterday and what all of us are saying is that most of those changes don't take effect until 1 July 2017, and we've said all the way through that our intention will be to give effect to these changes in the most efficient and simplest way possible, and that there will be a consultation in relation to implementation arrangements. And I mean, that is something that all of us have said. Now, you've got to remember, this is about our efforts to make the superannuation system fairer, to better target the available tax concessions and to ensure it's fit for purpose. The reason there are tax concessions in superannuation is to encourage people to save, to provide an income in retirement which replaces the age pension or supplements the age pension, not to facilitate accumulation of wealth which can then be transferred through inheritance in a very tax-effective way. It's not about accumulating large amounts of wealth tax-effectively for inheritance purposes. It is about encouraging people to save, to provide an income in retirement which supplements or which replaces or supplements the pension.
We're just about out of time, Minister. So you've got people of the stature of Mark Vaile, your former National Party colleague, Malcolm Broomhead, a prominent company figure. The Institute of Public Affairs saying you're simply playing semantics. They're promising to run what they describe as an aggressive campaign against these superannuation changes. These are all your mates. How do you feel about this?
Well, I mean, we've worked to do the right thing here. We've worked to make our tax system more sustainable. We've worked to make our tax system more growth-friendly. Every additional revenue which has been raised by various revenue measures, including in superannuation, has been reinvested into tax cuts to facilitate stronger growth and stronger job creation, to make the superannuation system overall fairer by providing support to low and middle income earners in relation to the savings effort by low and middle income earners to get them into a comfortable retirement as well. So, we stand by the plan that we've put forward. It is a plan for jobs and growth, and it is a plan that is fair.
Mathias Cormann, thank you very much for joining us from Parliament House this morning.
Always good to talk to you.